What's up, guys? Here are my predictions for UFC 221 coming up this weekend. Now, a lot of people have been pretty down on this card, looking at it as not pay-per-view worthy from face value, from the names on the card and everything like that. I'm actually pretty excited for it because I've been watching and keeping an eye on a lot of these prospects like Ben Nguyen and Vasa and Tyson Pedro and Volkanovski and Li Jingliang. Now, is it pay-per-view worthy? I don't really know. The main event is definitely should be on a pay-per-view. It's one of the best fights you could put on in the middleweight division. But I really believe that this card is going to deliver way better than people think it's going to deliver. We're going to start with Jussier Formiga versus Ben Nguyen. Now, this is going to be a really interesting fight, and it's actually pretty important for the flyweight division, especially if Ben Nguyen wins. He is one of the prospects of the division. Now, Jussier Formiga is a grappler. He's a really good jiu-jitsu fighter. Good takedowns. Very fundamental and basic in those areas. He's really good at getting the back and controlling the opponent on the ground. He's very top-heavy. His stand-up is a little bit stationary. It's a little bit too static. He doesn't move a whole lot. His punches aren't the most fluid. He really looks overhand right. And I think Ben's biggest advantage there is going to be on the feet. I believe Ben is more well-rounded, and he really comes out with that in-and-out movement, which is going to be the key thing for him in this fight. He has big power for the division. He could finish it anywhere on the feet. He's good on the ground as well, like we saw in the Tim Elliott fight. He can leave himself open sometimes, but he's extremely quick and unpredictable. He's good at getting the back as well. Now, he's not the greatest at controlling the opponent completely, but he risks it every single time. He goes for the finish every single time. So my prediction for the fight, it's a really tough fight to call because of the unpredictability of Ben Nguyen, but I'm going to go on a limb and go with Ben. I think the unpredictability and the threat in every area can give a lot of problems to Jussier Formiga. Now, on the ground, I don't recommend Ben going there. Jussier is going to have a distinct advantage there, and he's really good at controlling opponents, and he'll be able to control the chaos that is Ben. But on the feet, using that in and out movement and not risk it too much. Almost pick your shots on the feet with some blitzing, I think would give Ben the win. I think he'll win by a decision. And then we go to Tyson Pedro versus Sephiroth. This is a very interesting fight as well, especially for the light heavyweight division because these guys are both prospects. They're both coming off losses though. Tyson Pedro is very well rounded. He's a long distance counter striker, good jiu-jitsu and good wrestling. Doesn't throw a whole lot on the feet, although his defense is solid. He's really good at moving back. He's pretty athletic too. He's good with footwork. He likes to throw long kicks to keep people at bay, but where he really shines is on the ground. I mean, his takedowns are really good, and when he's on top, it's so dangerous. He's good with ground and pound, he's good with submissions. He really goes for those submissions on the ground, too. Really good chin as well. I mean, he fought Ilir Latifi, and he took his best shots, and we're talking about Ilir Latifi here. Sephiroth also hits pretty hard. He's a very aggressive striker, almost like a boxer. He likes throwing those Russian hooks, he likes throwing overhands, and those are really the only punches he throws in the feet that we've seen. Big power, he's fast for the division. He's going to be a little bit smaller though. His takedown defense is solid, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to stop Pedro. But every combination he throws, every punch he throws is lunging, it's looping, and there's an opening under those shots for takedowns that we've seen before. So my prediction for the fight, I'm going to go with Tyson Pedro. I think he might have some problem on the feet early on, but I think he's going to get the takedown under those shots and then finish it with TKO or a submission somewhere in the second or third round. And then we go to Vasa versus Askren. Another interesting fight because Vasa, if you guys watched my previous videos, he's one of the guys I'm looking out for in this heavyweight division. His debut in the UFC was really impressive. He's fast, he's big. He's going to have a distinct size advantage over Askren. And I think he's going to be faster as well. He's deceptively athletic. He can move around pretty well. Good takedown defense as of what we've seen before the UFC. But he's more of a striker than anything. Very powerful. But he's not too much of a combination striker. I mean, he has powerful leg kicks. He has powerful punches. But he doesn't really mix them up too much. He kind of just throws 1-2 combinations and then gets in that rhythm. And something he really likes to do is he likes to charge at the opponent and wait for them to strike at him. And then he would counter them. And he has a pretty good ability to explode out if he gets taken down. Good at posting and exploding off that. Askren is going to be trying to get that takedown. He's a really good wrestler. Not too much of a striker at all. I think Vasa is going to have a huge advantage on the feet. But if his wrestling and grappling gets exposed, it could be a tough night for him. Because Askren is really good at controlling opponents and really good at ground and pound. And I also don't know where Vasa's cardio's at. So I think Askren's going to have a cardio advantage as well. But I think Askren's going to have a problem getting him down. I think the footwork might be a little bit too much now. He doesn't move all the time, but he can move out of place pretty quickly. And that size advantage is going to be a problem. He's going to have some weight on him. He's a little bit taller as well. So I'm going to go with Vasa. I'm going to go by a first or second round knockout. And then we go to the co-main event, Mark Hunt versus Curtis Blaydes. Now, this is interesting and another important fight for the heavyweight division, especially if Curtis Blaydes wins. But we look at Mark Hunt and He's pretty much a striker, one of the most credentialed and experienced strikers in the UFC, fought at K1, fought some of the best kickboxers in the world. Very short for the division, has a short reach, so that reach and height advantage of Curtis Blades is not going to be foreign to Mark Hunt, although it's a huge reach advantage. He's really good with those left hooks. He's really good at using those on taller fighters, getting over the guard, and he walks people down as well. I mean, he's like a tank in there. He takes shots, he blocks shots, deflects them, and then he catches you as the shots are getting deflected. Good leg kicks, powerful leg kicks, but I don't think he's going to throw kicks in this fight because Curtis Blades is one of the best wrestlers in the division, and he's long too, and he has power in those hands. Not compared to Mark Hunt, but he definitely has some power to be cautious about. Now, even with that power, Mark Hunt has a really good chin as well. And he's shown to have the cardio to actually go 4 rounds or so. Now, he does get tired, obviously, and I think Curtis Blades is going to have the cardio advantage in the fight, but that power is going to be present throughout the whole fight. I mean, he's going to look for those uppercuts as Blades creates contact with him. He's going to try to close that distance inch by inch with the jab and not throw a whole lot until he gets really close and backs Curtis Blades up into the cage. And now, Blades has really good double legs. Really good double legs. You saw in the Francis Ngannou fight, he's explosive with that. He's big for the division as well. So the size of Mark Hunt, all the weight that he carries, it's not going to be too much of a problem for Curtis Blades because they weigh almost the same amount. And Blades is really good with boxing as well. He's extremely good at that jab. You saw that in the Ngannou fight, which is a while ago. Really good at keeping that distance. And people look at the Stefan Struve fight. Stefan Struve is the only guy that have a longer reach than Curtis Blades that fought Mark Hunt, but Stefan Struve doesn't nearly use his reach as good as Curtis Blades does. So I think this time it's going to be a bit of a problem for Mark Hunt, and he has that takedown threat. So even with that reach, like you saw with Stipe Miocic, Stipe will throw some jabs and right hands, and when Mark Hunt looks to counter him, Stipe will just go right under for the single leg. And Curtis Blades could do that with the double leg. He has big ground and pound. He's finished almost every opponent he's ever been in there with, and most of those are due to ground and pound. And that goes to my prediction of the fight. I think Curtis Blades is going to win. I think he's going to win by a decision or a late TKO. And Curtis Blades has a really good chin. Mark Hunt also hits extremely hard, so it's going to be curious to see. But Mark Hunt has to get in really close to land those big shots. And then we go to the main event and the fight everybody's looking for, Yoel Romero versus Luke Rockhold. Now, this is a very interesting fight. It's an amazing fight to have. You got Yoel Romero, who's a wrestler, silver medalist in the Olympics, but he's become somewhat of a striker in MMA. One of the most athletic guys in the UFC, even being at 40 years old. I mean, he hasn't taken a whole lot of damage in his career, and him being 40 in this game is like some people being in their early 30s. It's crazy. So fast, so powerful, so strong, so flexible. His footwork's really good as well. He has some of the best footwork in the middleweight division. He covers distance so fast and he lulls the opponent, and that's how he covers the distance on them. He gets them in this rhythm for even a couple rounds, and then he just explodes out of nowhere and catches you when he disrupts that rhythm. Completely surprises the opponent. I could see something like that happening in this fight. His double leg's very powerful, and in fact, he's good with every kind of takedown. Trip, single legs, ankle picks as well. I mean, he's one of the only guys that go for ankle picks. Him and Tony Ferguson. His takedown defense is insane. I don't really see Luke Rockhold taking it down early, especially. Yoel, like I said before, really good at covering the distance, landing the left hand over the top, the right hook as well. He's good with every kind of strike. He throws more different kind of strikes than Luke Rockhold does. And I believe he's a better wrestler. Pretty good chin as well. He took Robert Whittaker's best shots. He took Jacare's best shots. I mean, this guy has a pretty good chin. Whereas I think Rockhold, he gets hurt a little bit easier. He got hurt by David Branch. He got hurt by Michael Bisping, and these guys aren't the biggest punchers. And Yoel Romero is going to be the most powerful guy Luke Rockhold's ever fought. And then we go to Luke Rockhold. He is well-rounded himself, very well-rounded. Now, he has a jiu-jitsu game, which Romero doesn't really have, and that's going to be the biggest thing in the fight for Luke Rockhold, and also top pressure. If he can get Romero to the ground and get on top, that's going to be dangerous because Rockhold's one of the best guys on top. He's so hard for people to get off him. He's really good with ground and pound. He's really good at submissions. He's creative. He's actually kind of comparable to Chris Weidman and his style on top. They're very top heavy and they like to go on that full mount and just land ground and pound or get the back or something like that. The only thing is Rockhold's a little bit more creative. On the feet, he doesn't throw a whole lot of different kind of strikes. He's kind of predictable now. You see in the David Branch fight, you saw even the Michael Bisping fight. His striking is getting a little obvious. He only throws a couple strikes and his timing is really repetitive. He likes to throw the check right hook. He likes to throw the left round kick to the legs, to the body, or to the head. He likes to throw sometimes the lead question mark kick, and occasionally he'll throw the left straight and the jab. But the thing is with his boxing, This is his biggest weakness in the feet. He has very little defense. His only defense is keeping range and also that check right hook. But his timing gets really, like I said, really repetitive. And I think Romero is going to be able to time that. Keeps his hands down and chin up every time he throws punches. He's really comfortable at that distance. With that said, his kicks are devastating. I mean, they are heavy. Now, they're not fast. I mean, it doesn't set him up a whole lot. He'll only set him up behind the right hand. So a 2-strike combination. But Romero's going to have a distinct speed advantage in this fight. So my prediction for the fight, I'm going to go with Yoel Romero. I think it's going to be a tough fight, especially because Luke Rockhold is going to have the cardio advantage. And I think it's going to be the biggest fight. But the only thing with that is Rockhold doesn't put on a huge pace on the feet. You'll see in his stats his output seems pretty high, but a lot of those are due to ground and pound. On the ground, he's very, very busy. But on the feet, he's really not. He likes to pressure the opponent a lot, and I think he will be pressuring Yoel Romero, and Romero's always pressured until he cracks the opponent. So it's not going to be anything different for him. But I think the footwork might give the slip on Rockhold a couple times. But I see Romero catching Rockhold on the feet. I don't think he's going to try to go to the ground with Rockhold. I think he's going to keep it standing. Use almost a sprawl and brawl kind of a tactic. At least I think that's what would be smart. Now, Romero is known for not to have the best fight IQ. That could be pretty unpredictable when picking fights, but I see him catching him over the dropping hands of Rockhold. And I think the speed advantage, I think he's going to catch Rockhold, and Rockhold thinks he's at a safe distance. And I believe he's going to win by a 2nd or 3rd round TKO. So those are my predictions, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up if you enjoy my content. Make sure to subscribe. Comment below what your guys' predictions are. Who do you guys think are going to win and why? Like I said, I think it's going to be a pretty good card, especially with the delivery based on the styles and everything like that. So make sure you guys do watch this card. So again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.